Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another MAMJ Let's Play. Today we're playing a demo for a game called The Elevator Game with Catgirls. And I downloaded this about a week ago, and I don't remember anything about it. And as soon as I booted it up, I was like, oh, now I know why I downloaded this game. Because for a little bit, I questioned my sanity. So, shall we dive in and see what it's about? That's always a good sound. It's a cold winter night. Snow started to fall a couple of hours ago, so the cityscape is littered with a layer of white fluff. It crunches under our feet as we walk down the street. Ta-da! We're here! Oh, that's a very tall building. That's your apartment complex? Nice. I look up to inspect the tall building before us. It's past midnight, so it's expected that most people living here should be asleep by now. Naturally, that also explains why barely any of the windows show illumination coming from the inside. Considering what we're here for, it only adds to the creepiness of the situation. I've never been a fan of dark places. That didn't change even when I got my feline features. What? You don't think that being able to see so much more clearly in the dark would make the darkness less scary, would you? Trouble is, I hear so many more little sounds that I wouldn't make out before too. And since I'm not sure what all of them are, the dark's every bit as creepy as it was before. Maybe even more so. Interesting. So you've acquired feline features? So we are. Finally, a response! I thought you were starting to give me the silent treatment again. It's a fault of mine, and one I'm not too proud of. I tend to get lost in my own head sometimes. Well, quite often, really. Thankfully, Kidding is fairly used to it by now. I swear, Kidding, of all the buildings in the city, you just had to choose one which seems super creepy. This has to be the sole residential building in the whole office district. Oh, but you know it couldn't have been just any building. This one is perfect. And by perfect, you mean meeting the conditions and being less than 10 miles away from our homes? Or are you enjoying your walk in the snow together so much that you'd like to prowl around aimlessly for another hour? Because I don't know about you, but I'm really starting to feel the cold. What was your plan? For me to need to warm you up afterwards? You could have said something, Asahi. I just stare at her, not really sure what to say. There's no winning with Kidding when she gets all sly like this. Also, I think Asahi and Kidding are both beers, Japanese beers? I believe. I don't know if that's what they're named after, but that'd be kind of funny if they were. As much as I hate to admit it, it's one of the things I actually like about her. Why did I sign up for this again? Because you love me! Yes, thank you for reminding me of that questionable fact. Say, do you get the feeling like someone's manipulating someone else for their advantage over here? No? Just me? Oh, come on, don't be like that. You know I'm happy you decided to come with me. I'll make it up to you, I promise. I stare at her for a moment longer before I sigh. I really can't argue with her, not when she's looking at me like that. I had a silent crush on this girl for the longest time and never expected to one day find out that the attraction was mutual. The fact that we managed to actually get together still feels so unreal sometimes. If it weren't for the fact that the change affected her too, it would have never come to this. As much as I disliked it in the beginning, it made me feel like an outcast among my former peers after all. Our shared experience allowed me to be there for her when she needed the most. It's a memory I'm always going to cherish, of that I'm sure. I breathe warmly on my hands, rub them together, and then jam them deep into my pockets. It's not much, but hopefully it'll keep some feeling in my fingertips. It's enough to let me focus on things in the here and now, at least, rather than just how cold it is. As I said before, and I'll say it again, you get provoked way too easily. You're doing all of this because of this bet with Morgan, aren't you? Oh sure, that's one of the reasons. But that's not the only one. I'm doing it because it's fun. Fun? Kidding, you've seen the forums. Not a single person out there ever said it was a good idea. Yes, all those fairy tale stories. Quite tragic, really. Come on, you're not about to tell me you honestly believe those. So you mean that you don't? Seriously, girl, we live in the real world. Spooky, scary skeletons don't just pop up out of nowhere because someone decided to be an idiot and press some buttons in a certain way. I can't believe you of all people are still saying that strange, unexplained things don't happen. I mean, did you look in the mirror this morning, right? This is this, and that is that. So you don't believe this will actually work? Remind me why we're here again. We're here to prove a point, namely that Morgan can suck it. I honestly can't believe I let you drag me into this. Chill, Asahi. We suffer the cold for just a while longer, nothing happens, and then Morgan owes us $50. $50 that will treat us to a nice dinner together. I suppose a dinner with you is a pretty good incentive. See, I knew you'd come around. That being said, wish me luck and all that jazz. I'll be right back. Oh, she's going by herself? Kidding. What? I'm the one who should be getting cold feet here, not you. Just, you remember all the rules, right? Stay safe, okay? Asa-chan, be realistic about this. What's an elevator gonna do? Bite me? You could always get stuck. That's a realistic possibility, if anything. I'm sure you'll figure it out if I do. Now, be sure to stay away from the building since we'd be breaking those majestic rules otherwise. Right. See you in a bit! And we never saw her again. I stare as Kidding approaches the building's entrance, presses one of the intercom buttons, and moments later pushes the door open. How does she convince people to trust her so quickly, to let her into the building like that? She's gone from my sight before I know it, and a faint click as the door closes behind her. There's a feeling of unease pooling in my stomach. All of this being a bad idea, probably the worst we've had yet, just screams in my head. I'm going to give Morgan a piece of my own mind once all of this is over. It's not like I can really do much about it now, however. If I were to go after my girlfriend, saying I've suddenly changed my mind, it would undoubtedly make her angry. Hell, we snuck out of our houses through the window, without our parents knowing, just to go through with all of this. If I had a problem with this whole crazy idea, I should have said something way earlier. It's too late now. I wrap my fingers around my phone and pull it from my pocket. As I do so, the screen shows 13. It's basically past midnight, right? 0:13 a.m. It took us around an hour to walk here, and while I dreaded us even being here in the first place, I'm also not looking forward to walking all the way back, especially when it's bound to get colder as the night goes on. Perhaps we could use this $50 to get a ride home instead of a meal. Yeah, if things only worked that way. With another sigh, I turn away and start to walk towards a small park located in the middle of this godforsaken district. I don't know why part of it is a playground. There can't be many kids here in the day, can there? But it is, and there's a slide as well as a pair of swings. I'll most likely freeze my butt off if I sit on one, though that would let me lift my feet off the ground for a bit. The cold, snowy ground. I decide to sit down on the nearest one. And just like that, the uneasy feeling of having entered a liminal space hits me, making the hairs at the back of my neck stand up. One's mind usually associates playgrounds with children, laughter, movement, and life in general. It's what they're designed for after all. So when you get to experience the total opposite of that, when you find yourself sitting in an empty, childless playground in the middle of the night, it doesn't feel right. Your mind associates it with something being off, something being wrong. Why are you here, Asahi? In a place you shouldn't be. It's like, I don't like that slow pan. Absent-mindedly, my gaze wanders. Something at the other side of the street catches my attention. It's a vending machine. I happen to have a bit of change with me, and the idea of getting something hot to drink is suddenly a very alluring temptation. It would undoubtedly make the waiting out in this cold less unpleasant. Please say it's a machine that has hot drinks as well as cold ones. With my mind made up, I get back to my feet, checking the time more out of habit than out of actual curiosity again. 14 a.m. Only a minute's passed since Kitty's disappeared into the building, and I'm both surprised and not really. The feeling of time passing slower than usual is normal when you're obsessively waiting for something, even more so when said waiting is physically uncomfortable. I think the top says Neko Cola, so like cat cola. I made my way towards the vending machine without a second thought. Oh yeah, definitely cat cola. To my relief, its glowing buttons do indeed hold the promise of a hot drink. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna save. Why not? I have the option to save, I'm gonna do it. How do I go back? There we go. Coffee or cocoa? Well, if it was me, I would get cocoa because I don't like coffee. Also, cat girl, so milk, right? Cocoa. I'm usually more of a coffee person, but I'm in the mood for something sweet. My mind will most likely appreciate the sugar rush right now, too. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with the fact that this is Kitty's favorite drink. You chose wrong! What? Fua Fua Choco Choco? Is that what it says? Yeah, it's about time I acknowledge the fact that I've started to consume more sweet stuff because of her. Even though she says I'm sweet enough as I am. It's only when there's a clunk of coins in the change slot that I realize the cocoa's a bit cheaper than the coffee, meaning that I'll be able to get a can for Kitty when she comes out too. That's a nice surprise. That is nice. As I work on opening the bottle, I realize how warm and heavenly it feels in my hands. I wrap my hands around it, enjoying a few moments of bliss as the heat warms my fingers. I take a small sip, instantly happy with the taste. Being able to drink anything warm feels like a godsend right now. Satisfied, at least momentarily, I make my way back to the playground, intending to sit back at the spot I took up once before. I reach the swing and settle back down. As I glance up again at the building Kitty slipped into minutes ago, my blood suddenly runs cold. A sense of sudden panic swarms my mind as I try to make sense of what I'm seeing. A building that's dead to the world, all pitch black, with none of its lights shining through the windows anymore. Could all the residents have gone to sleep in the meantime? That's close to impossible, and I know it. A power outage, maybe? I quickly turn around and look at the other buildings around me. All of them seem the same as when we arrived, with a bright window still present here and there, so surely that can't be it. If the power was cut off, it would affect the whole street, wouldn't it? Or even several streets? Also the vending machine? Almost spilling my drink, I hastily reach for the phone in my pocket. Huh? I blink, then close my eyes for a moment, certain something's wrong with my eyesight. That time couldn't have just gone backwards. What? A small sense of relief floods me as I quickly open my eyes again. It must have been a trick of the light before. Or perhaps there was a glitch in my phone's display. Perhaps there is something wrong with me. Remembering what made me reach for my phone in the first place, I raise my head to look at the building before me once more, only to see it in its previous state. The lights are back on as if they were never gone to begin with. The unease in my stomach stays though. I know what I saw. I'm pretty sure I couldn't have just imagined it. It's been 5 minutes since Keating went into the building. Is that enough time to ride a bunch of floors? Would she be mad if I called her so soon? Dwelling on it suddenly feels stupid. I open up the calls on my phone, and there's her name at the top of the history. She's called me just a couple of hours ago to confirm our plans for tonight. Admittedly, her name is also there for the call before that, and the one before that, and... Okay, I chat to her a lot, so one more call right now can't hurt, right? I hit the read all button. I should have expected the call wouldn't connect. If she's still inside the elevator, there probably isn't any reception in there, is there? So, what options does that leave me with? Going in after her? Waiting for another 5 minutes? I stare at the building before me intently, afraid to avert my eyes anymore. It's like I'm hopeful my gaze, there we go, my constant observation alone will make the lights stay. Got it. I'm scared of the situation repeating itself. Sometime later, I realize that I spent so long just holding my can and fretting about Keating that my drink has gone from nice and hot to, well, undrinkable. Some drinks are not meant to be just kind of warm, and this is one of them. At least it kept my hands from freezing, I guess. 10 minutes pass. I feel only more cold and helpless. Why can't Keating just come out of the building now as if nothing has happened and laugh at me for worrying too much? I call her again for good measure. Surprisingly, the call does go through this time. Hello? Hello? What? I'm not prepared for what I hear. A woman laughing at the other end. There's something about it that disturbs me to the very core. It's definitely not Keating's voice. Or is it? All of a sudden, realization hits me. Morgan, bet, everything, now this, none of it could possibly be real. All of this has to be a prank arranged by my classmates. And whether Keating's in on it? She wouldn't do this to me, would she? The image of her wickedly smiling, amused, a face persistently pops up in my mind again. Confusion turns to anger. Before I know it, I'm on my feet, already marching to the building, determination boiling inside of me. This is a bad idea. There's an obstacle before I can get in though, as I obviously don't have a key to the entrance door. What kind of excuse would be plausible at this sort of hour? I stab at the button that I think Keating pressed and then almost immediately regret it. What if I pressed the wrong button? What if I pressed the right one and sound stupid when the other person asks who's there? What if... To my surprise, there's a click from the intercom and then a buzz as I'm let in without a single word being spoken. Huh. So Keating didn't have to sweet talk anyone. I try not to dwell on the unexpected invitation as I shrug it all off on luck. Oh, I don't think you're gonna be lucky here in a minute. As soon as the doors close behind me, it occurs to me just how dark the inside of the building is. I know it's the middle of the night, but I'm not sure whether such a complete lack of light is normal. People live here after all. There should be some signs of life. Buildings usually have at least a few lights on inside, don't they? Yeah, they do. It's unsettling, although it doesn't make me as nervous as it used to. I know that my vision is going to adjust to the darkness in a moment, letting me navigate this place easily. I'm about to see a lot better in the dark compared to when I was still completely human, but it doesn't work instantly. Yeah, so what is the whole reason behind that? Like, how did this whole cat person thing happen? Excuse me? As I take the first few hesitant steps into the building, the lights flicker on with a harsh buzz. Of course, I'm being such an idiot. There are automatic lights in here, and they come on when people move. Totally ordinary. It's just that I've never been in this building before. It stands to reason that it feels unusually creepy to me, right? Especially if I think about why I'm currently here. All that considered, it feels longer for me to reach the end of the long hallway than it probably should. It's a dangerous time to let your mind wander into places nobody sane would want it wandering to. At least the building inside is noticeably warmer than the outdoors. It makes the whole situation slightly easier to bear. My hands and feet almost started to freeze off in the meantime. The next thing I know, I stand before the elevator door, rooted to the ground, with a sudden hesitation of someone watching me. Oh no, I'm gonna press the button. I save before each one in case I die. Hesitantly, I reach to press the elevator button, more panic exploding inside of me as the automatic light picks up that exact moment to cut out. My first instinct is to get out my phone, let it illuminate the sudden darkness of the corridor, and God knows what else is inhabiting it currently. There's nothing. Nothing that I'm able to see anyway. It's just the empty corridor, a row of closed doors along each side, seemingly the same as when I first entered it. There's nobody here. I don't feel any less on edge when I turn back to the other direction, bearing my back to all of that space again, pressing the elevator button as quickly as I can find it. The distant sound of machinery starting up pierces the unnerving silence, followed by a hum which indicates that the elevator is in motion. It's clearly on a different floor, so I wait for it to descend. Taking a deep breath, I try to calm myself. It feels like an eternity for the thing to arrive. Hello? The doors finally slide apart with a slight scraping sound, and the small compartment finally opens up before me, completely empty. I'm not sure whether I should be surprised or not. Part of me hoped it wouldn't have come to this, while another already expected for things to turn out this way. At this point, I decide the only sensible thing I can think of doing. Get into the elevator, ascend to the highest floor, and then make my way down the stairs. All in the hope of stumbling upon Keating, possibly hiding from me on one of the floors. Uh-huh. If only things turned out that easy. Oh! Really? You're gonna leave it there? Oh, come on! That's cool. That's really cool. Project is made for the Winter VN Jam 2020, only a demo. Be sure to follow us for the release sometime early in 2021. That's so cool. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this video here because I don't think the options are probably gonna change anything. I don't feel like there's a huge difference in drinking coffee or even turning around. I feel like it's gonna be like it was nothing after all. But wow, this game is interesting. I'm curious to see where they go with this and what happened. Because there's so much more going on, right? There's the whole Catgirl thing. Like, are they gonna explain that? Are they gonna tell us why these things happened? And like, where did Keating go, right? Okay, I'm gonna keep my eye out on this game, for sure. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave this episode right here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next MAMJ. Love you.